Look, man, you got peace and blessings from the Most High, man. Again, breathe in that thankfulness, breathe in that gratefulness, breathe in the blessing. Make that a practice, make that a habit. Do it intentionally a little bit every day. Set aside time to do that. Put on some music you like, soak in it, breathe in that gratefulness, breathe in that thankfulness. Write down a list of things you're thankful for, write down a list of things you're grateful for, write down a list of all the things that you have. Because what's funny is if you sit down and are intentional about it, you're actually wired to see that you have more to be thankful for than not to be thankful for, or you have more to be grateful for and more blessings upon you than you do complaints. But man, we spend so much time complaining. Again, I'm talking about you, I'm talking about myself. I catch myself too, man. I made it to 3 o'clock today. Made it to 3 o'clock. I took a pledge not to complain for 24 hours. I made it to 3 o'clock. So you talking about I've been up since 5 this morning, man. I didn't even make it 10 hours. And I fancy myself as someone who doesn't complain a lot. I usually push through things. But there I am, 3 o'clock. Had a little snafu at my job come up, something that slightly inconvenienced me and was annoying, and here I am complaining about it. So, increments, man. It's sliding incrementally up and down the mountain. But the thing about it is, if you're watching this, you've been to the top of the mountain. You know what the top of the mountain looks like. And you're sitting there up at the top of the mountain. But the thing is, once you've been to the top of the mountain, you can't unsee what you've seen at the top of the mountain. You know what I'm saying? So once you get to the top of the mountain, though, you have this ability, it's actually a blessing, that you can move freely throughout the different levels, the different parts of the mountain, the bottom, the middle, and then your job is to lead others to the top. All right, but you can't forget, this is why it's a daily thing. It's the daily process of working out your salvation. You're saved, you're set free, you're liberated from sin and death and poverty and all these things. But you gotta understand, none of those things will come to you until they come through you first. So you have to realize and recognize the internal blueprint, the internal mechanism that releases that mindset, that lets go of that way of thinking, that lets go of the emotions that tied to it, and then those things will start coming to you physically and naturally. But again, receiving things naturally, physically is not the point. It is not about you. I see especially so many young men, they put so much pressure on themselves. And I'm not saying pressure is a bad thing. Pressure makes diamonds. In my own journey, I was put in some insurmountable situations, pressure upon me. And when you feel that pressure, that is a gift, because you get to grow in your faith. You get to put it on God. I don't know how to handle this situation. Teach me. Boom. And then you grow in it. But I see so many young men especially put so much pressure on themselves to accomplish these things, to be successful. But we haven't just defined what is the point of the accomplishment and what does success actually mean. Because then you maintain the success, right? But then all of a sudden you've attained it. Now you have to maintain it. And maintaining that thing, that success, we never think about what's it going to be like to actually maintain that standard or to keep rising above it. Because yesterday's success is tomorrow's failure. It's a principle, so you can't stay complacent. But how do we maintain that? And then it gets to this point where maintaining that becomes our own personal hell. So don't get caught up because you get to one place, whether it's in your career, whether it's in your relationships, whether it's with spirituality, whatever. Don't get caught up being like, I've arrived. And then you forget about all of the things that you did, all of the ways in which you were consistent that got yourself there. Don't forget about that stuff. But so many young men, you put your pressure on this self, on yourself, to be successful, to accomplish great things, and then the problem with it is it becomes about you getting, and your intent and your heart's right in it. The problem with it is it's become about you. Take the focus off yourself and look at the gift you've been given. Look at the success that you want to create and how can you leverage it to empower someone in your sphere of influence. Again, I'm especially talking to the young men because I work with a lot of young men, and the thing our society does is we have this narcissistic culture in breeding young men to be successful, to throw themselves to the top of the pyramid, so to speak. And it's a lot of weight to live under. So if you understand, man, it's not about you. Stop trying to grasp and get for you. Just be excellent in what you do, but understand that in being excellent at what you do in whatever arena or ecosystem you're in, be excellent at it. Again, it's like it says in the Bible, man, work, do all things as if you're doing them to the Lord. Work, he tells as Paul and Philemon says, hey, work for your slave master as if you're working to God. It's talking to a slave owner and a slave. We're talking about slavery here, and he's telling the slaves, hey, slaves, bond servants, and it might not be in the book of Philemon, that just popped up, but look it up. But he tells the slaves and bond servants, he said, hey, your master, whether it's a good master or a bad master, work as if you're doing that work for the Lord, and it will become a blessing to you. And if it's a bad master, it will become a curse to them. So do all things in your life as if you're doing them for the Lord, and good things are going to happen. Okay, but take the focus off of yourself. Don't buy into the lie that our culture is telling you, has been telling you since day one, has been telling your fathers, has been telling your grandfathers, probably even been telling your great-grandfathers. Don't buy into that lie. Okay? Be you, but take the focus off of self. And use the gifts that you're being given to how can I serve those around me? Because that's going to allow you to become the man. And this could apply to women too. I'm just speaking to the young men especially because that's who I work with mostly. And that's where I see this going on mostly. But it could apply to anybody. Okay? Sit with that. Just breathe in that peace and know it, man. You're going to be fine. Things work out. You just got to believe it. It's Monk. Peace and blessings from the Most High. Out.